Today, we're diving into the epic story of a people and their language. It's an incredible journey that takes us from ancient migrations all the way to the birth of a powerful kingdom. We are talking about the story of the Zulu.
But before we jump in, let's start with a question. What does a language really carry with it? I mean, is it just a bunch of words and grammar rules, or is it something more? Like a living archive of a people's history, their values, their whole journey through time. It's a great question to keep in your mind as we go through this.
And trust me, this isn't just a history lesson about the distant past. The language we're talking about, Zulu, is spoken today by more than 12 million people. It's a vibrant, living voice on the African continent. And to really understand it, we've got to travel back, way back. Okay, so our story doesn't start with just one clan. Nope, it starts with a massive movement of peoples. To get the Zulu story, you first have to understand the enormous scale of the Bantu migrations, a journey that spanned the continent and totally reshaped Africa. Just take a look at this timeline. This was not a quick trip. We're talking about a slow, steady expansion that took place over thousands of years. It kicked off around 3000 BCE in West Central Africa. From there, these groups moved, they settled, they moved again. They reached the Great Lakes in East Africa by 1000 BCE. And then, and this is key for our story, they finally arrived in Southern Africa around 500 CE. So what does Bantu even mean? It's really important to get this straight. It's not a single tribe. Not at all. It's a huge family of languages, a group that includes hundreds and hundreds of different ethnic groups. And the word itself? In many of these languages, it just means people. It's this beautiful thread of shared language that connects all these diverse cultures. I love this slide because it shows you inheritance versus innovation. So the ancestor language, Proto-Bantu, had these key features, like a complex noun class system, which you can still find in Zulu today. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, as these Bantu speakers moved south, their language bumped into other languages. And Zulu did something amazing. It actually incorporated the super distinctive click consonants from the Khoisan languages of the people who were already living there. The language didn't just show up, it listened, it adapted, and it evolved. So we have this massive migration. But how do we get to the Zulu? Well, this huge journey eventually led to specific cultural groups forming in southern Africa. So now, we're going to zoom in from that wide-angle view of the Bantu expansion to the specific peoples who laid the foundation for the Zulu identity, the Nguni. So, the Nguni are a group of Bantu peoples who were well established in southern Africa by the 1400s. And they weren't just living next to each other. They had so much in common. Super similar languages, shared cultural traditions, so much so that they could often understand each other perfectly. This group includes the ancestors of the Zulu, but also folks like the Xhosa, the Swazi, and the Ndebele. So what really defined them as a people? It kind of boiled down to four main things. First, cattle were everything. Not just for food, but for wealth, for status. They were the center of the whole society. Second, kinship was huge. Your family, your ancestors, that's what defined you. And societies were built around clans traced through the father's line. Finally, history wasn't written in books, it was spoken, it was performed, passed down through these incredibly rich oral traditions. And right at the heart of that identity is this idea, the Isibongo, which is the clan name. Now, this is so much more than a last name. It's your history, it's a direct line to your ancestors, a marker of your place in the universe. If you know someone's Isibongo, you know their story.
And this brings us to the most dramatic turn in our entire story. You have all these different Nguni clans. So how does one of them, the Zulu, go from being relatively unknown to forging a nation so powerful it would change the history of Southern Africa forever?
You have to get this starting point. At the beginning of the 1800s, the Zulu were not a major power. They were just a small clan, one among many, in a region full of rivals. Their rise was not a sure thing. It was something that had to be forged.
So how did they do it? You can really break it down into four stages. It all started with a visionary leader, Shaka Zulu, who took all the military and political power and centralized it. Then he completely changed the rules of warfare, introducing new weapons and tactics, like the famous Horns of the Buffalo formation. But here's the brilliant part. It wasn't just about winning battles. The clans they conquered were brought into the fold, absorbed into this new, bigger Zulu identity. He created a shared purpose, a loyalty not just to a clan, but to an entire kingdom. And the result of all this, honestly, it was stunning. In just a matter of decades, a small clan became the most powerful, most organized kingdom in the entire region. They were a force to be reckoned with, no doubt about it. Which brings us right back to where we started. The language. Because this whole incredible journey, from that Great Migration all the way to the rise of a nation, it's all encoded. It's all baked right into the words spoken by millions of people today. The history is alive in the language.
And you know, there might be no better example than this famous Zulu proverb, Umuntu ngomuntu ngabantu. A person is a person through other people. This is the heart of Ubuntu, a philosophy that's all about community, about how we're all connected, about our shared humanity, values forged over centuries of focusing on kinship, clan, and building a nation together.
So what all this means is that isiZulu today is a language that carries its whole history inside of it. It's one of South Africa's official languages, it's famous for those unique click sounds it borrowed from its neighbors, and most importantly, it's alive and kicking, spoken in homes, taught in schools, and heard all over the media. It's a legacy and a living voice, all at once.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We've followed the story of isiZulu, from its ancient roots to its powerful present. But languages, they never just stand still. So, if a language really is a living history, a story that's always being written, what do you think its next chapter will say?